Today I want to talk Sanctum. Sanctum was once the big bad boogeyman of currency. Before Affliction, there was a time where the community raised their pitchforks and they were upset. Sanctum produced a lot of currency, a lot of divines, a lot of bubblegum, a lot of mirrors, and a lot of really random things that just completely raised the price of items. Sanctum was the thing that you were doing, and if you weren't doing Sanctum, you weren't making money. And Sanctum has fallen off. Nobody talks about Sanctum. Nobody visits Sanctum. Nobody looks at Sanctum anymore. Sanctum is just completely, in essence, kind of faded away. Now, there are people who have done Sanctum. I myself am running Sanctum, and there's community members in my community who are running Sanctum, but we're not running Sanctum for the reason that you may think. We're running Sanctum for a completely different reason. Now, I'm not going to tell you that this is the best divines per hour strategy. I'm not going to tell you that this is one of the best money-making strategies, but I am going to tell you that Sanctum has one of the best, most interesting things that you can be hunting and that you can be looking for. Now, we're not going to be doing Sanctum to be looking for that divine. We're not going to be doing Sanctum to be looking for that mysterious prize. We're going to be looking to do Sanctum for one very interesting thing, and that one thing is going to be what hooks you, what drives you, what motivates you to just do more Sanctum. Now, I know I'm doing a lot of yapping, but let's talk about that item and what it is and what it does. That item is the original scripture, the papyrus relic, the big chase item that drops off of Lycia at the end of Sanctum. And some of you might say, well, yeah, we know that's expensive, but do you know how expensive it is? Do you know that it is 1.4 mirrors? I had no idea until the other day that this item was 1.4 to close to 2 mirrors, depending on who's selling it and when they're selling it and how many people are actually farming them. I had no idea. And the best part is the original scripture is the thing that gives you the original sin. Or what is it? Is it original sin? There it is. And these themselves are, there's no shot this guy ever lists this for 27. And if I was on D&D. But anyways, that guy's probably getting whispered out of his mind. But these items themselves, they're insanely expensive. It's crazy how expensive the original sin is. And the margin for profit between the scripture runners and the people with the ring is very, very low. Now, until GGG releases the original sin in a Valdo map, which we could check by going to map filters and typing original sin, until this is more accessible in other ways, you have to run Sanctum. And you either need to farm enough currency to buy the ring, farm an original scripture, or do the run yourself. Now, me personally, I'm not going to do the original hit or the no hit run. I've done it during Sanctum League. It makes my hands sweaty, my knees a little shaky. It is a rush like no other. But I am not in a position to want to do it again. I want to farm the scripture though, and I think it's really cool. Now, there's a community member who put me on this. The guy's name is Blossom. Blossom's already found 2 of these, and the strategy that he's using was what I'm going to be bringing to you today. Now, to do this, you need a very specific set of relics, and you need a character that can run Sanctum. And I've talked to Sanctum farmers, and they're getting their original scripture every like 100, 150 Sanctums. And I know you're saying to me, well, that's a lot, that's bad, that's crazy. Sometimes you get it earlier, sometimes you get it later, but Sanctums take about 10 minutes. So, I mean, like 100 runs at 10 minutes is a long time, yeah, but while you're doing it, you're still making small divines, you're making bubblegum currency, you're hunting relics, you're getting other items. And today I want to showcase to you what I'm doing, how it works, and how you can be farming the original sin yourself. Now, to start, you're going to need to get yourself some Forbidden Tomes, eye level 83. You're going to need to get yourself a character that can like do the thing and cast the spell and clear the Sanctum, no problem. And you're going to have to run Sanctum. Now, when you go to the relic altar and you take your book and you put it in, and I'm going to be walking you through an entire Sanctum run, there are 2 ways that you can farm the original sin. Way 1 is the way that I'm doing it, where you get relics, and the only mod that's relevant on the relic is 25% increased quantity of relics dropped by monsters. You want to get this at 100%. At 100%, Lycia can drop 2 unique relics. And while you're doing the Sanctum run, if you're lucky and you find the boon for increased effect, it's 30% increased effect of relics, you have a chance of dropping 3. Now, this is the most easy and the most consistent way to do this, and you do this with 2 papyrus scrolls and 2 squares. As you can see, this one has 25% relics, this one has 25% relics, this one has 25% relics, and this one has 25% relics. I've talked to some players who don't do it this way, and they do it with just squares. But if you do it with just squares, you know that you only have a space here and a space here, and that's not the most optimal way to do this. If I were to encourage you guys to do this, I would have your setup just like this. Now, the reason we have our setup just like this is we can do two things. One, we can hunt divines with additional room reveals, and I can go like this for additional room reveals. Or two, what I really, really, really like to do is I like to take this Blood of the Innocents, which gives us a chance at Balance of Terror. Now, Balance of Terror and these relics are about, I'd probably say in bulk, about 100C a piece. Balance of Terror, as you see here, says it's only 75 divines. That's actually not accurate. If I were to bring up the trade site for Balance of Terror, and I were to remove the mods on it and make it unidentified, you could see these go for roughly 3 divines a piece, 4 divines. People do buy these, and there's not a whole lot of them because not a lot of people are farming Sanctum. Now, if I were to corrupt this and put no, put identified, put yes, and I was to just kind of do this and take a look at the expensive ones, there are really expensive variations like this crit multi with Enfeebles 250, this extra Fizz's random elements 200. There are really, really, really expensive Balance of Terrors that you can get that will increase your profitability by doing Sanctum through the roof. And the reason we do this is the hunt of these relics. Now, if you want to change things up and you want to do a different strat, you want to do the merchant strat, you want to do the coin strat, you want to do other things, you can do that as well. But this is the most consistent way that I have found that I've talked to other Sanctum runners that they have done to get the original scripture. And I wanted to make sure that you guys knew that this was a thing that you can do. Now, one of the other ways to do this is to use one of these relics, the Coffer relic that says Aureus coins are converted to relics upon defeating the Herald of Scourge. If you manage to get 10,000 plus coins, then there is a strategy for that. You can actually have this in your relic altar and you'll get 5, 6 unique relics at the end. The kind of strategy that does this is a little bit different. You want to have a bunch of coin generations. You want to have a bunch of merchant things so that you can see the merchant a lot and you want to generate a lot of coins. And the way that you do this is you start getting coins and you look for the merchant, and the merchant eventually sells you a boon that'll say double your coins or give you more % coins at the end of each room. And that keeps going up and up and up and up. And that boon falls off the minute that you spend or buy anything. So you just never buy anything again and you target all the coin rooms. But today we're not going to go over this. We could do a more in-depth on how to do that. If you want, I can buy the relics for that. I currently don't have those. I have these relics and I can kind of run over and talk to you about these. Now, these relics themselves, they can get pricey. They can get expensive. You can have the opportunity to find them for cheap. You really have to search trade. There's different ways that you could do this. I'm not actually sure how you fit the candlesticks, so I don't think the candlesticks actually work. I paid about 40 divs a relic. You can see that they're pretty expensive and pretty pricey. There are other ways to find these relics. There are players constantly selling them both on trade and on other trade websites and in Discords. And you can actually just spend some time live searching these relics, and they pop up pretty frequently for about 40 divs, 30 divs a relic. I know I'm telling you to do a strategy, and I know the setup cost is expensive, but you don't need to do the setup cost. This is just the most optimal way to find the original scripture, and you could just run Sanctum and have a good time and do Sanctum and hope it falls at the end. Now, Sanctum itself, like I mentioned, we're going to be putting these in, and I'm going to walk you through floor by floor what you need to be doing and how you want to be doing it so you know what to be doing. Floor 1 itself is really simple. We don't really care about rewards on floor 1. We don't care really about much of anything on floor 1. The reason for that being is floor 1 doesn't really have anything that we want. You're not going to find your divines. You're not going to find your mirrors. You're not going to see a lot of those like really cool items that you're really going to be looking for. So your plan for floor 1, I mean, you can if you want, but your plan for floor 1 is essentially to target as many of the rooms that'll give you more coins just so you can start stacking up coins. The big thing that you want to look for when you're going room to room is to go as fast and smoothly as possible, but you really want to avoid the 50% reduced effect of your non-unique relics. If you get this, the run is pretty much over. Just restart your whole Sanctum. It's not worth doing, especially if you get it this early. Like if I were to accidentally click this and get this, I would just restart the whole run. It's not worth it. Everything else, pretty much you really don't care about. Now, in terms of like the later floors and the later everything, like you can go for and you can look for divines all you want. You could try to hunt a little bit of extra. And, you know, I've had runs where I've gotten 6, 7, 10 divines. I've had runs where I've gotten 4 sacred orbs and none of them were a mirror. And I was really sad that I got a bunch of sacred orbs and none of them were a mirror. But essentially, you just want to go room to room as fast as possible, and you really don't want to think. I've even come to the point where, like, the Sanctum runner that I'm using right now, if you've watched my last video, you saw me use this tech. I actually have on a weapon swap a butcher axe that has a phase run setup with a squire. I know it's a little sweaty. I know it's a little bit of a gamer move, but it allows me to just simply weapon swap while I go room to room. Now, this is another really bad option. The merchant only offers one choice. We're going to avoid that just like we avoided the other one. And we really just kind of, like I said, we want to make sure that while we're doing floor 1, we're not really spending a whole lot of time looking at things. Now, my floor 1 time is usually about 2, maybe 3 minutes at most. But while recording this video and talking to you guys and showcasing things, my floor 1 time is going to be a little bit slower than normal. And you see my character is very well equipped to do Sanctum. I think Penance Brand is really, really, really powerful. And if you want more information about this character, you can either pull my profile or you guys can let me know in the comments down below. And I can do a quick little video. Oh my God, they're unknown. I wasn't paying attention. I can do a little write-up pretty much about this character, how it works and what it does. The beautiful part about this character is it really kind of just doesn't care about anything. Like, the damage is so high, we just kind of keep rolling, we just keep moving, and we go room to room, floor to floor, and we just really don't care about anything. The only thing that we really worry about with this character at all is the fact that sometimes if we step on traps or we get bad afflictions that increase the damage that we take from traps, we'll pretty much have a really rough time. Now, when we get to the boss, as soon as you get to the boss, you just want to throw down your little brands, he's going to die, and you'll see right away that we've already gotten an urn, and that we have the ability to identify on these really good things. Now, lastly, we learned that these relics can have additional reveals, additional rooms, the merchant sells additional stuff, and all those this league are still selling for a pretty penny. So now we get to floor 2, and we're pretty much in the same boat. We're looking for treasure rooms. We don't care so much about rewards. Rewards are really nice, but the real thing that we're looking for is we're looking for coins, excuse me, because we want to make sure that when we do find the merchant, we are able to buy as much stuff as we can from her, and we want to have the ability to buy the boon that gives us the increased effect of our relics. Same reason why we're going to go for the hand packs or the room packs, because we just want to make sure that we can, you know, have the highest opportunity to find major boons. Sometimes you get all seeing eye early. Sometimes you get really cool stuff, and, you know, you just want to make your run essentially as smooth as possible without having to worry. Now, I know some of the times I forget to weapon swap. Sometimes I do weapon swap, but on rooms like this where it's just like find the exit, having a weapon swap to just go as fast as you can. Like you see, we just did that room in like no time at all. Like that room was like pretty free, and we just, you know, we go next. Now, you always want to go for benevolent fountains if you see them. Benevolent fountains are really good. They'll give you free things. You see, once again, we picked up another relic. Thank you to the unique relics that we're using. And we'll grab our coins and we'll keep moving. Okay, this room here. These rooms too are very easy with brands. We just kind of like put our brands down and we just let them chill. There's actually a tech that Blossom was telling me about with the build that we can change up the build a little bit and be able to have our brands last even longer, especially on rooms like this. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna go for the hand room here, and we're just gonna kind of do whatever. Now, the really cool thing, like I mentioned, is the only thing that we really care about with this build is if we accidentally get hit by traps. Most of the time, everything dies as soon as it spawns, and the only thing that can really ruin our run is if we accidentally die to the flicker guy. That happens, unfortunately, more times than I'd like to admit. And that guy is pretty poopy. He just kind of like comes out of nowhere and he really ruins your day. Same thing with the guy who fires the arrows. Sometimes you'll just accidentally get clapped and there's nothing you can do about it. But otherwise, like you see right now, we really don't care too much. The only thing that we're making sure that we don't do is that we take the minus 30% effect of our relics. And just like that, we are at the floor 2 boss. We cast a little bit of this. We just kind of stand here. We get another relic to scope out later. And we're really hoping that our relics at the end of this run give us, you know, additional merchant choices or additional room reveals, or we manage to get the quant of relics, because all of those are just like awesome, awesome, awesome paydays. Now, when we get to floor three, you want to be a little bit more conscious of your choices. You want to start looking at things and you want to really pay attention. Floor 3 is when you could start to see your divines. You could start to see like really cool things. I'm actually not 100% sure, and maybe you guys can let me know. I don't think you could see mirrors on floor 3. I think mirrors are floor 4 exclusive. So while you're on floor 3, you want to just kind of like scope out your rewards, and you really want to pay attention to your bubblegum currencies and what's worth what at the current moment. I was doing some Sanctum the other day on stream, and somebody was just like, oh my God, you took GCPs over Chaos. Like, why would you do that? Or I took GCPs over like Sextants. I think it was Sextants. And I explained to people that like things like GCPs are very abundant in Sanctum, and GCPs are like 40 to a divine. Like in Sextants are 80 to divine. So like you can actually make incidental really good money in Sanctum. Now you see in this room there's the flicker guy, there's the arrow guy. And, you know, I take a second to make sure that I accidentally don't die to them, and I just kill them, you know, while I go. This build, once again, just does such an absurd amount of damage that it makes more sense for me, especially on certain rooms, to play a little bit more cautious. Now, I don't have to slow myself down any to cast because the brand's attachment range is through the roof, but it just, you know, it makes a little bit of sense just to spend an extra second double checking. We want to see here, there's nothing really good that we really want. We'll buy out a couple of things here so that we just kind of like reduce the amount of stuff that the merchant shows us, because we're hoping when we see her in floor 4 that she'll give us what she wants or what we want. I bought a little bit of resolve there just to be on the safe side. This run is very unique in the fact that I'm taking damage at the end of every room completion. I don't think I'll fail it. I'll probably like eat a shoe if I fail it. I would rather not eat a shoe, but you know, just to be a little bit safe, we just grab that. I also don't think I have the health pool to really survive a lot of extra hits or a lot of extra BS, so you never know. Now, in this unique scenario, I actually prefer taking the hands over the merchant, just simply due to the fact that the hands can be hiding divines, and I like divines a lot, especially since like this is not the best money per hour strategy, and our really big hits are the balance of terrors, and our big hits are the original scripture. So if I can have the opportunity to find a little bit of extra something, you know, look up maybe a divine here, divine there. I'm gonna, oh, that's so annoying. You know, if I have the opportunity to find extra divines here and there, or GCPs or something cool, you know, I'm gonna take the opportunity to like give me the best out to finding currency. Now, like I said, I do this Sanctum run, and I'm doing what I'm doing today, and I'm showcasing this not because I'm expecting this to be the best money per hour strategy, but I'm expecting and hoping to hit an original scripture or two. Now, I know we could be hunting mirrors, and I know we could be magic. Oh, that guy didn't die immediately. What happened there? 50% more damage, 50% more life. Okay. Oh, we have like nothing. Okay, this though. Okay, I was like very confused. I was like, she normally just insta dies. That was really concerning. I've never. Oh, I guess I also didn't press Bottle of Faith, and I didn't cast Wave of Conviction. Okay, maybe not so much to worry about. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. Rewards are unknown. I'd rather have rewards are unknown and just kind of blindly go through it than have to deal with slow movement speed. The only thing in floor 4 that we really want to worry about is this room right here. Same thing with floor 3. I know I didn't talk much about floor 3, and I'm going to bring up floor 3 again, even though we're done with it. That's the only real room that like is kind of spooky and kind of scary. Everything else is like not too bad. If we do manage to get it, the room with the fireballs or the meatballs, I'll show you guys the little shortcut. If you guys don't know a lot of the shortcuts, or you guys are looking for tips and tricks on how to do the individual rooms in Sanctums, or you guys want to, oh, we got it. Nice. Hopefully we get 3 this run. Now, if you guys want a more in-depth guide to Sanctum, a more in-depth how to do the rooms, what to look out for, where mobs are, and stuff like that, you know, leave a comment down below. I'll be more than happy to create a video about like more in-depth look at Sanctum. But today I wanted to keep this relatively simple, and closer to the shorter side, explain the strategy, show you guys firsthand like how the character does, and just how my Sanctum runs are looking, and just what to expect when you kill Lycia. Now, in this case, like I mentioned, GCPs are really expensive, so I'm actually going to take the GCPs. That's like one of those like weird rooms, right? Okay, we're just going to come here. We're going to check the shortcut. We're going to get out of here. I kind of want Blessed Orbs. I'm really low on them. I know there's somebody who'd be like, what do you mean you just took Blessed Orbs? Eventually, too, what's really cool about Sanctum is if you run it enough like I have, or you start to really get a feel for it, you just know where every mob is all of the time ever, because they're pretty much always in the exact same spots. Like, you just know where they are. You know where to precast and pre-fire. You know how to clear the rooms. You know where to expect things. You know where the traps are going to be. You start to learn the timings of the traps. And, I mean, it's like really sweaty gamer talk, obviously, but, like, you just get to the point where, like, Sanctum is just like second nature. I mean, just like that, couple of minutes, we're at Lycia. Cool tip for Lycia. She'll always attack where you're facing. So as soon as she starts moving, you just blink out of the way. We wait for the fog to go away. And we're going to do the exact same thing now in phase 2. As soon as she attacks or starts moving to attack, don't wait for her to attack. As soon as she starts moving and you see that health bar, you just blink away, because she's always going, or like you run away, I guess, because I didn't remember to blink, but she'll always attack in the position that you're in. So if Lycia is here and you're here, she'll always attack this way, and you can just blink out of the way. Same thing in phase 1 when you see Lycia. She'll always attack where you are. Now we're going to do the thing. We're going to pre-cast. We're going to press our thing. We're going to go here, and we're just going to kill her. And how cool would it have been if it would have showed up in the video? Oh, man. And just like that, we grab a couple of things. We take a look at what we got. We see if we got anything worthwhile. This is really cool. This is like 50C. This is like really, really easy to run, especially with this character. And it gives you the Sandstorm Visage, and this is like 4 divs. So like, this is just something that eventually, like, I'm just stockpiling these for now. I'm going to end up eventually running these. You could still get these too. These are about 2.53 divines in bulk. These are about 150C in bulk. These are really easy to run as well. They're about 20C. They take about 10 minutes. They'll give you an Eternal Damnation. Eternal Damnation's a bunch of divines. And essentially all of the unique relics that are coming out of Sanctum are still really good money, and they shouldn't really be discounted. Like, you should really still kind of like keep an eye out for them. And if you can run them and you have the time to run them, you should still consider running them, because they're still pretty good. Now, something to note too, and something to talk about, experience, we don't care. Something to note and something to talk about. When you do a bunch of these runs, you're going to get a lot of these relics. A lot of these relics are going to be bad. They're not going to be good at all. And you can actually 5-to-1 them at the vendor and get a new look. And that's pretty much the best thing that you could be doing. Like I said, some of these relics are really, really expensive. Some of these relics are really cheap. This one, for example, with additional rooms, goes between 16 and 20 divines, depending on the shape. This one, because I don't think a lot of people realize that the coins can be converted to relics, and the strategy is really easy to do. These are relatively cheap. These themselves, like I mentioned, are about 100C in bulk, and you get the Balance of Terror. The Balance of Terror, like we talked about earlier, is about 2.53 divines unidentified. They do sell. You can sell them. And if you really want to gamble like I am, and you're really looking for that big ticket item, you could just identify them yourselves. And actions we cannot move below base value. Oh, that's pretty cool. I don't know if that's any good, though. It's cool, but I don't think it's good. And immune to curses. That's not bad. Not bad. Just gonna put this to the side. And that's it, man. That's Sanctum. That's the whole run. That's everything that you need to know about Sanctum and the strategy and what I've been doing. Now, hopefully, maybe knock on wood, you come watch this video, you stop by the stream, we've already found the original scripture, or maybe you're watching this in the future, and as long as nothing changes and this isn't Affliction League, all of this should still be really relevant to you and should still work exactly the same. But for now, friends, let me get this video out to you guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.